All right, guys. Thanks for checking in. 818L.A.Ryker opening the box from the new Silber Turbos dual air intake kit. And this thing is dope. Get an extra 5 horsepower plus all the other goodies.
Don't call it a comeback.
Alright dudes, we got a new product from Silber Turbos here. This is the dual air intake kit. This comes with 2 filters, 2 pre-filters, 2 pipes, 2 hoses, 5 clamps, 3 bolts, 3 nuts, 2 Phillips screws, 2 brackets, and 1 dope CVT plate cover. We will be installing this on both the air intake side that goes into the throttle and on the CVT air belt side, and we will not be lifting up the shell of the bike during this install. I will show you how to do that. Let's get going. Alright, so we are going to start on the right side, CVT side first. We are going to need our small bracket arm, our bracket hinge. We're going to need 2 bolts and nuts. We're going to need 2 Phillips head screws. We are going to need our 3-inch to 3-inch black hose. We are going to need our smaller of the 2 air intake pipe. We are going to need our custom plate. We are going to need our filter, and we're going to need our filter cover along with 3 clamps. Okay, just make your way over to the right side of the bike and open up that box like you would if you were changing the filter. It's really easy. Just unscrew it. And then we're just going to push those little knobs to the right and then to the left, and then she pops right out. Put her over to the side, sell it, whatever you want to do. Maybe you'll need it later at some time in your life. Now we are going to need to remove these 5 screws. In order to remove these 5 screws, we are going to need an 8mm socket. Once this bracket comes off, you are going to lose your oil funnel. Just put it in your frunk. So remove the screws, and these come out really easy. They're coming out of plastic, and we are going to reuse these to install the plate. So don't get rid of them. Put them off to the side because they will be needed again. These come out really easy. Now the 5th one is located underneath at the bottom. You don't need to remove the side fairing. Just stick your arm under there, get it on in, and take that sucker out. This CVT bracket assembly comes out just like that. Again, put it to the side. You may need it sometime. Who knows? Since our box is open, give it a little dust out. Might as well clean it out. Go ahead and grab your plate. This plate fits perfectly over the cover. And now we are going to reuse our screws by putting them in by hand. We are just going to hand tighten them for now. Also, this is kind of a test kit, so if you do order the black kit, you will get a black plate if that's what you want. Same thing with the bracket arms. They will come in the same color as the pipes. Now remember, guys, don't screw in too hard, okay? When you feel those bolts stop, just stop. You don't need to push or force this thing in any harder than it lets you know how far to go. As you can see, the oil dipstick will be exposed. I just ended up painting mine black. Now let's go grab our 3-inch to 3-inch hose and clamp.
70 to 90 millimeters.
I like to put the clamp on the hose first and then just slide the hose on. You're not going to need any lube or oil or anything like that. Then go grab your pipe. The pipe goes in easily, and remember, we are not tightening things down at this time. Just going to lay the pipe in there just to kind of get an idea and also start our assembly of the bracket arm. Remember, not tightening anything down yet. Go grab your small bracket arm and one of your nuts and bolts. Now remember, we are not tightening this nut and bolt all the way. We are just getting it on for now. We will be tightening everything later when we make our final adjustments. Using your hands is good enough. No tools needed. Now go grab your small bracket hinge, your 2 Phillips screws, and one of your bolts and nuts. This bracket is made really nicely. You're going to lay it over those 2 holes in the side of that internal box cover right there. I put the bottom Phillips screw in first just to guide it, and then you're going to finger tighten them down. You really can't screw this up, can't put it in backwards. If you're doing it wrong, it won't sit flush. Then just take your Phillips head and, again, screw it down till it gets tight, no more. As you're going into plastic, you don't want to force anything. Then take your nut and bolt, attach it to the lower holes of the bracket arm and through the hinge. Take your nut, pop it on, and again, just finger tight. We will make all our final bracket adjustments at the end. Now go grab your filter and 70 to 90 millimeter clamp. Put your clamp on the filter neck or the pipe neck, and then just install your filter until you kind of feel it stop. Get it on there so it won't fall off. You can tighten your clamp a little bit, but you really don't need to because we're going to make some adjustments. Check it out. That's it. She's done. Easy peasy. Again, we're going to come back at the end and make some final adjustments just to tighten everything up and get things all squared away on each side. Feel free to go ahead and tighten those clamps a little bit if you like, but after you get it on, you might want to make some adjustments, so just don't go too tight. Don't go all the way. No need yet. The only clamp I would really have tightened down is the one that goes from the hose onto the plate. But I think she looks good. Super easy install for that CVT side. Look at that. Beautiful. Wow.
Side A, the CVT side is done. The CVT side is done. You know what, let me start her up actually. So as soon as I tighten everything down, this shake should be minimized. See that? Ooh, that's gonna look good with my lights too. I'll have to reconfigure my lights a little bit, but that'll look good.
Now that we got the right side done, let's get started on the left side. This is going to be a little bit more intensive. For this side, we're going to need one bolt, our small clamp, a big clamp. We are going to need our bigger intake pipe, our larger bracket arm, our filter, obviously, and our 3-inch hose that gets reduced down to, I think, 2 inches that goes into the throttle intake. Now, as you can see, I currently have a Silber cold air intake, which I'm going to be removing. And at this time, you would normally open the clamshell, and I'll post a video to a clamshell video, but for me, there's no need. Basically, what we're going to do here to get to the cold air intake is we're going to remove these 4 pegs that everyone is so familiar with removing, because we are going to take out our glove box.
Open this guy up, and you can see I've got 2 of them here. Let's get that finger out of the way. Boom. All right. And now this just pops right off. All right. Let's lay that down there.
Now we're going to need a T15 Torx bit to remove the 2 screws on each side of the glove box to pull it out.
There we go. Super easy. Okay, and there you see. We're going. Actually, I'm gonna remove the key just to make sure there's no curve when I remove this stuff. There we go. And that's it. Glove box out, and there is the current cold air intake setup that I've.
Now the first thing I'm going to do here is remove that breather hose that goes from the engine into the cold air intake, and I'm going to loosen that screw on that clamp. Now if you have the OEM airbox that comes with the Can-Am Ryker, it's almost the same thing. Now grab some pliers to go ahead and remove that first squeezable clamp that is located on the breather hose and connects to the cold air intake pipe.
I got it right there. Okay. Sorry. All right. So, there we go. Gone. Look at that. Easy.
Now come around to the right side of the bike and you're going to see that hose and that clamp. We're going to go ahead and remove that using a flathead screwdriver or a 1/8 inch socket. Now we're going to use a 12mm socket to remove the bolt from the bracket arm of the OEM Silber cold air intake. We will also be using a 12mm to re-screw those bolts back on. All right, now come around. You're going to reach in to where your cold air intake pipe and hose are. You're going to probably need two hands here, and you're just going to lift up and pull out.
We'll see how she looks. This is the new bracket. This is the old bracket. So that's your size difference right there. Now we are going to remove that OEM Ryker bolt using a 10mm socket. Very important, when reusing that bolt, we don't want to go too tight. We just want to go till it stops as we are going into aluminum. Be very careful reinstalling.
Now let's go grab our second hose, 3-inch to reduced 2-inch, our smaller of all the clamps. That is a 50 to 70mm. And let's head on over to the throttle intake. Now the small opening of this hose is what's going to slide over the throttle intake pipe. You can see it right there. We totally have access to it. So slide that hose down in underneath like that. Bring your arm around the left side opening and just shove it on in. Should go in with a little bit of force, but you'll be able to get it. And remember, make sure you put that clamp on the hose prior to sliding it on. It just makes it easier in the end.
There we go. All right. That's the simple part. All right. She is in.
Now take your 70 to 90mm clamp and slide it on the other side of the hose before we stick the air intake pipe in there. You're going to take the long and straight portion of the air intake pipe with the breather hose nipple, and you are going to start wedging it in. You may need a little bit of saliva to go around the edge of the pipe or inside the hose in order to get it in easily. Otherwise, it could be a little bit difficult, but pretty easy for me, so it should be pretty easy for you. After you get that in, go grab your long bracket arm and one of your bolts and nuts. This is how it's going to look like before you start installing the bracket. Now grab your bracket arm and let's reuse that OEM Ryker screw and washer. And we're simply going to screw it finger tight for now into the bottom of the bike. Then grab your bolt and nut that came with the kit and start attaching that bracket arm to the pipe up top. Now I'm not tightening anything down too hardcore yet because I want to make some adjustments. Still have to reinstall the breather tube, but I'm just kind of getting an idea right now of how far in or how far out I want to position these pipes. There is going to be some adjustments needed if you want to get it, to your liking. But it was pretty easy once I figured out where I wanted everything, and with the oblong holes that comes in the brackets, it made it nice to be able to make some adjustments, bring it in an inch, out an inch, stuff like that. All right, so go ahead and grab your pliers and reattach your breather hose, and then take your squeezable clamp and clamp it on. You can either do that from the front here or come in from the side of the cold air intake. Now grab your 12-inch socket and your 10-inch socket. 12-inch for up top, 10-inch for on the bottom.
Pretty close.
Now go ahead and start tightening down your clamps using a flathead screwdriver. Use that same flathead screwdriver for your filter clamps. Now go ahead and make some final adjustments. You can bring the filters in, you can bring them out a little bit, you can adjust them up a little bit, you can adjust them down a little bit, whatever you want. You're going to kind of be working at it for a little bit. It's not so cut and
Looking
dry,
real
but
nice.
it's very easy to do. I haven't reinstalled my glove box, but I did reinstall my panels. I was doing a little bit more adjustments, things like that. But basically, you just kind of want to reinstall everything the same way
And
you
then
took
this
it
final
out.
T15. And remember, get in.
Feel free to head over to silberturbos.com where you could pick up this kit, a single cold air intake, headers, exhaust. They have my favorite exhaust, the Silber Turbos Quiet Tunable. You can get the DynoJet PV3, and now, of course, they are the only ones that have the bolt-on Can-Am Ryker turbo kit.
Now I'm going to take her out for a test run. Make sure all the parts can hold up under my obey the speed limit driving.
All right, guys, this kit, it holds up great, and it's awesome. Check it out without the filter cover. That red is dope. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you got any questions, hit me up in the comments. Please throw me a like and subscribe. Peace out.